So I'm going to invite Rick to come up. Rick Scuggs is here with his wife Debbie. Rick and Debbie are from Calgary, and Rick is representing an organization called LifeLine Christian Mission. For those of you who don't know, I just want to give you a bit of background. Many of you, of course, grew up in the Christian church, but many of you maybe did not. And so we, Montague Christian Church, are an independent church that are networked with a number of other independent churches that go by the name Christian Church or Church of Christ, and they're across Canada, North America, even around the world. And so LifeLine would be a relief and development arm of the Christian churches. So I just want to give you that background, invite Rick to come share with us about the work of LifeLine. Thank you, Rick, for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Paul. Well, thank you for the invitation to be here. I have actually been in Montague before. Several years ago, I met with your previous pastor kind of in the middle of the week and a couple others, and we chatted a little bit about LifeLine then, but I've never been with you in worship, and it's a pleasure. Debbie and I came actually to the Maritimes for a little bit of a mixed bag of responsibilities. So we were in Halifax Christian Church last Sunday, then drove over to Summerside. We did a wedding there. Kind of a long story, but the bride was from Calgary in our church there, and the groom was from Summerside, and they'd been in this long-distance relationship for a while, and so we were asked to officiate at their wedding, which was great. And then from Summerside, we were into Charlottetown, and now we've reached the most picturesque part of the island, Montague. And that says a lot because the whole island is extremely beautiful, particularly this time of year, and we have enjoyed our driving around and visiting, and particularly glad to be with you this morning and to share a little bit. I just want to give you kind of a 30,000-foot glimpse of what LifeLine's all about, and then if you have questions afterwards, I'll be out at the table and glad to answer any questions you have. And you can always go to lifeline.org and find out all kinds of things online about what LifeLine's doing and where they're working. LifeLine's in its fifth decade of existence, began in the United States, but only the last 5 years and a little bit here in Canada. And we currently work in 11 different countries. Although we do ship meals, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but we do ship meals all over the world. Just recently sent 2 40-foot sea containers of dried food to Romania and Hungary for refugees from the Ukraine that they've been helping out. LifeLine's work centers around 5 main causes. Let me just explain those briefly. So we're very intent on working with churches in all of these countries and the local leaders. So we help churches to multiply, we help to disciple, and also to train leaders in local churches, and try to build relationships and help them build relationships and cooperation between local churches and their leadership in the countries that we serve. Pretty much everything we do, we try and do through the local church. Then secondly, we work a lot with youth. We really understand, I think, that young people and empowering the next generation is really important to not only the health of churches, but also to the transformation of communities and countries. And so we have started and continue to support numerous schools across Latin America, Haiti, Ecuador, and amongst the Navajo people in the U.S. Thirdly, we're committed to help these countries with health and nutrition. As you might have guessed, that's a really huge need in most of these countries. And political instability in places like Haiti, as you've seen in news and whatnot, is huge. And then so many of the countries have very poor economic situations, natural disasters, hurricanes and earthquakes. This year, Honduras, for example, had 2 hurricanes within 2 weeks of one another. They hadn't cleaned up from the first one before the second one hit. And so our LifeLine workers in in Honduras were overwhelmed trying to help the people in their churches clean out their houses, rebuild their houses, etc. And then the ramifications of things like COVID just continue to undermine and threaten the health and the well-being of these countries' populations. So LifeLine runs a number of permanent medical clinics in some of these countries, and as well, we sponsor pop-up clinics with volunteer medical staff. As well, we pack a lot of meals, rice, beans, dried vegetables, and then a nutritional vitamin supplement that goes into that. And so we organize those here in North America, Canada, and US with churches and schools and organizations who come together to pack those meals. Unfortunately, we're still not able to do that in the Maritimes. We're working towards that. Hopefully, in the near future, we can bring that opportunity to you and your church here. And then, fourthly, economic empowerment. One of our causes. It's important that our local churches in these countries become as self-sustaining as possible, and that individuals in these countries are given opportunities to generate a living for themselves and for their families. So LifeLine provides both training and microfinance so that people can start their own business, begin to experience their God-given potential. Local churches are encouraged to start businesses that will bless their communities and help their churches to flourish. Self-sustaining churches are then able to give birth to new churches and serve as a model and a mentor to them. One of the ways that we're helping churches become more self-sustaining is with something called container outfitting. It's where a church would take on a project, partner with a church in one of the countries that we work in, and they'd take a 40-foot sea container and retrofit it for some business opportunity that that church sees in their community. So for instance, in Honduras, we had a girls' home, and many of the girls wanted to learn how to work in the restaurant industry. So a church built a restaurant training facility, shipped it down there, and then they began this training and now have opened a restaurant out of this facility, and that's helping to sustain that local church as well as training the young people in that church. So those are the kind of things. Sometimes they're classrooms for schools, sometimes they're medical centers, but all kinds of opportunities. And it's kind of like going on a mission trip and never leaving home when you're working together to retrofit one of these containers. Which kind of leads into the last thing that we're about, and that's about mobilizing people to be on mission for God. Not just working with people in the third world countries, but also working with individuals here, like in Montague and elsewhere in Canada, and helping to mobilize them. So that may be on mission trips, that may be on a container outfitting project, all kinds of opportunities to have your congregation, people from your congregation mobilized to be on ministry for God. So we do in Western Canada mobile meal packs where we take the equipment and the supplies to a church and set up and do it there. In the U.S., they have meal pack centers in 5 different places across the U.S. where people can come with their families, their small groups, their church, and pack meals. So this is happening in a variety of ways across the country. There is a sample out on the back table of what one of those bag of meals looks like. Very simple. That bag is good for 6 people, so it's kind of like for a family. Just heat up the water, dump in the contents, add anything you want to it, and that's a meal. So that's probably enough of what I want to share. I have a short video of from our regional director in Port Salut, Haiti. Many of our churches in Canada are supporting Rico, that's his name, and Mandy and their family in the work that they're doing in the southern part of Haiti. We have campuses in the southern and 2 in the central part of Haiti. Rico works down in Port Salut. And there are a number of folks here in the Maritimes and churches who are supporting him. So he put this video together just last week and sent it to me, and I'll play that, and that's kind of the end of my contribution this morning. God bless you. Appreciate meeting each one of you and being with you today in worship.
Hey guys, this is Rico. I am sitting here inside Decision Christian Church here in Port Salut. It is pretty warm down here. The month of June is, so this is our congregation. It's too bad it's not on a Sunday morning. I could just actually show you around, and this is where we are. This is a complete turnaround of our auditorium. So I just wanted to come to you and say hi and let you know that we are doing good here in Haiti. Myself, my wife, and my kids are all here, and we're just enjoying it. It definitely has been a learning curve being back here in Haiti. Things have not been the best for the country as of late. As you can remember, we had a presidential assassination almost a year ago. Ever since, the country hasn't really had a stable government. Prices of commodity and goods have skyrocketed. Fuel is in very, very, very little supply. There's hardly any fuel anywhere. We have to buy fuel retail on the side of the road. When the fuel comes, and it's very, very chaotic. Lots and lots of people get under the fuel tank trying to fill up their jerry cans. So we have a little bit of gasoline left for a generator at nighttime because we don't have any power into our house yet. So nothing feels better than a glass of cold water on a very, very hot day, especially when you haven't had one in 8 months. And truly, this is how long it's been since we've had a glass of ice water. It's been about 8 months now since we moved down to Haiti. But you know, with that, we're still here, and God is good. Things are great. We had a fantastic convention where we invited all of our sister churches here at this auditorium to worship with us. And it was amazing to see all the colors, all the different groups worshiping, the youth groups from the other churches, the youth group from our church, and the ladies groups and the men's group, and they all came, and it was just phenomenal and fantastic. We also had the chance to honor 7 men in our church who felt like God is calling them to start preaching, and we were able to charge them. And we had many people came forward and wanted to get baptized, and that was just, I think, icing on the cake to see lives being transformed and being ready to go to heaven. I'm gonna take you outside and show you some of the projects that we're working on. One of the new gardens we're doing right now is a passion fruit farm. It actually will look like this when it's completely done, but as for now, this is the reality of what it looks like. So this is our new projects. The guys are beyond excited, and we include some of the church people to join us in organizing this passion fruit farm, because our goal is, when everything is ripe and ready, we'll take it to the local market, take it to the local hotel, sell it, and with the funds that comes back, we'll be able to provide a scholarship for a young person who needs to go to school. That's our goal. I mean, we're all in focusing on sustainability projects. One of our newest location that just got planted about 5 years ago has grown, and they have their own piece of property of the purchase. Property has been purchased and, praise God, paid for. Now they're in the position of building on the facility. So Pastor Lotin is the pastor in place. He is a great visionary. He's praying for God to send resources to be able to help with different things that he needs to do. It's been tough because he's still worshiping under a tent. And whenever it rains, the tent just collapses. But as you can see on the background of the tent, there's a fresh, beautiful new construction going on. And they are contributing as a church, and they're putting one rock at a time, one brick at a time, one post at a time, and they are trying to build their sanctuary. All right, voila. This is, this section will be the missionaries' corner, should I say. So this is where we've already laid the groundwork for it. We started this piece, the last team we had that came into Haiti, right before all chaos started happening. That was in 2018, 2019. It still is under construction. The footings are done, but we are a long ways away from getting it finished. So be in prayer with us for finances so that we could get this work done. The total price tag for this project is right around $100,000 US to be able to get this project completely done. Whew. So voila, I walked around a lot showing you what we have going on. And thank you so much for all your support. We're praying for more partners and financial supporters who can contribute on a regular basis, because one of the areas we're really hurting is with continuing operational expense to do regular continued work. Things that most people don't think about. Things like office papers or printers or buying toners or paying for the electricals and the fuel, and when your tires blow up, to change your tires, and insurance. All these continued things are essential for us to continue to keep going on here to keep the project up and running. Hey, God bless, and I'm looking forward to maybe one day bring the family and visit with you and break bread with you and get to chat and communicate together.